What's up, bro?
What's up, homie? How you
Shalom.
doing, bro?
I'm good, man.
How
What's
you
going
doing,
on?
baby? What's shaking?
Hey, what's cracking, my boy? Hey, look. Hey, quick two quick questions, real quick. Are you
Go for it.
streaming? Nothing wrong with it if you are.
No, I'm not. I am recording, but it's not live.
All right. Well, I got a couple of topics for you, man. They some good topics if you want to talk about it.
Let's get it going.
All right. So it's funny how you greeted yourself, man, because it's kind of one of the topics that I've been talking about a lot. So you pretty much familiar with Black America, right?
Of course, I grew up
Black
in
American.
Miami.
Okay, all right. Oh, so you actually know about? Okay,
I
all
grew up
right.
around a lot of Haitians and Jamaicans.
Yeah, I already know. So my question is, for Black America to not have any power, like government, military, things like that, why are why is it that we are so influential to the world, not even to the country? Like, we have a big influence on a lot of people in the world, though,
Mm,
not just in America, in the world. Why
mm.
would you say that is? What's your
Wow, I
opinion on
love
that?
this question. This is such a good question. All right, totally off topic. Also, my audience is gonna probably fillet roast my asshole for saying what I'm about to say, but
All right.
I have some top thoughts on the topic because I actually really identify with that. By the way, like I'm Israeli, right? I'm Middle Eastern. I have no African heritage in my family that I know of. I DNA tested
Yeah.
myself. There's nothing. But I've always,
Yeah.
my entire life, I've always had an affinity to black people or people who are African. I've always wanted to be liked by people of African heritage. I've always liked people of African heritage. And I think there's just, if I had to say it in like the most non-racial way, there's just something amazing about you guys. You carry a certain energy and element in life that no other group of people does. And I don't really know how to explain it. I'll give you an example. I have a good friend from Liberia.
Okay.
And I was living in the Philippines a couple of years ago. I took him to a party on the island I was living on. And you know, this party was full of white people, Europeans, Filipinos from all over the world, but no black people at all. The second he came into the party, bro, the second he entered the dance floor, it was like the whole thing, everything changed. Like everything became better instantly. It was I had never really seen it or like processed it up until that point, but I was shocked because I was like, you guys have a certain energy about you that you carry into this world. Sometimes it can be perceived as super negative and people can be scared of it, but
Yeah.
when you know what it is, it sometimes can breed like pure happiness, pure joy, and magic. And I think I don't know if it's something about all Africans or certain Africans or people who have a certain, I don't know. I don't want to make a generalization, but I think that's kind of
Yeah.
something about you guys that's super special. And that's probably why people have an affinity to follow your musical trends, follow your dance trends, follow your cooking trends, follow everything that you guys do. You're super influential on the world. And I'll give one more example. And this one
No
is
problem.
my audience is going to grill me for this a little bit.
Yeah.
I I have a sneaking suspicion that a lot of black people are originally from the tribes of Israel. And I think you guys carry this light in you that the original tribes of Israel carry with them as well, in this idea that we call tikkun olam, or this idea of being a light to the nations. And I think that's why, secondary to Jews, you guys are so influential in society and you get persecuted for it all the time, just like the Jewish people. I've never seen a group of people who get fucked as
I'm
hard by the
listening.
world, who get fucked as hard by the world and blamed for shit as much as Jewish people, and people take parts of their culture and use what they create all the time. I've never seen another group like, instead of black people and Jews.
Man, look, it's so funny, right? Because I didn't just end up on your stream on accident. I've been talking to Jewish people for like the last 6 months on this website, right?
Mm.
And one of the things you said is something I agree with. So of course you lived in America, so you should be familiar with the Hebrew
Of
Israelites.
course. We also have them in Israel,
All right.
by the way.
Yeah. Oh, really?
We have a
Well,
community.
I heard, but I heard it's not like America.
It's
So it's
different.
just yeah,
They came from America originally, but they changed up their opinions.
yeah.
They have a different ideology now. They're accepted by Israel for the most part. They deal with struggles by the government, but they're amazing, man. They're an incredible community here.
So when you said that, I agree with you, like, because I've been studying Torah, so and I practice Torah, and when I look at it, it's just like, of course, like I said, you heard the argument before, so I'm not gonna go too deep. But it's like when I read that shit, it looked like I'm reading my history.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading the exact same things that happened to my family, my ancestors, and all of that. Even
Mm-hmm.
today, the same things that are going on is still written in Torah.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say these things, for one, I want to say I appreciate you for being honest. Like
Of course, bro.
over anything, these conversations are what people are scared to talk about. Either they're scared or they want to be. I'm gonna just say the word. I'm gonna just say bullies for argument's sake, for conversation's sake,
Yeah.
or they want to be a bully and more so pick on you instead of having the conversation. So I do appreciate that.
I'll tell you where it
Now,
comes from too, bro. Like if you look at Israel on a map, right? It is
uh,
literally the crossroads between Europe, Asia, and Africa. It is the
Africa.
center
Yep.
of those three continents. And what drives me crazy is when people, even when Jewish people do it, they imagine that Jews only have looked one way. Like you can only look this specific way, even when they isolate to like what I look like, which is, let's say, what theoretically could be the closest to what Jesus would look like, because I look very Middle Eastern. People are like, okay, that's what
Yeah.
a real Jew looks like. It's like, no, man. This land has always been inhabited by people from Africa, Asia, and Europe. This has always been a mix. And it's
Yep.
impossible for me to imagine that some of the tribes of Israel did not include people of African heritage, Asian heritage, and European heritage. It's always been brown, black, and white together in this land.
So I don't fully disagree with you, but I slightly disagree.
Okay,
So I believe now when we're speaking as majority, I believe that majority of the Jews, the 12 tribes, that's not just the Jews, the 12 tribes, I believe majority of them will still be their original color. That it wouldn't nowhere in history have we seen a people fully change race. And the reason I say that is I always like to start from the beginning.
mm-hmm.
And a lot of rabbis in Israel agree. Adam was created from the dirt.
Correct.
It's obvious what color he would be. So now when we get to Abraham and things like that, we know these are descendants of Adam and they mixed with another dark people. Like, so when you think about all right, so the 12 tribes, one of the main people they mixed with was the seven African nations. So like Canaan, Egypt, people like that. Those are all
Kush
African
as
people.
well. Kush was a big
Kush,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the people that you read about, though the 12 tribes mixing with,
Right.
and majority of them are dark people.
I agree.
But that's kind of, but even though I agree to that, that's kind of irrelevant, right? So that was just me painting the picture that I don't think that majority of the race would change, but I do agree that we will come in all different colors now
Mm-hmm.
because of course we, like I said, we mingle. Some mingle with Moab, which we say are the Chinese. So if he mingled with a Chinese person, he wouldn't look like me.
Right.
He would look yeah. So I do understand that. But I think the biggest problem, and this kind of switching topics, but it's on the same topic. I think the biggest problem is if we understand that they started off black, darker, let's say darker. I'm because I don't. The term black could be used for anybody. If they started off darker, I just don't understand how majority of them is not this complexion anymore. We've been going through exile for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
And even when we get into the times of Solomon, you see things like I'm black and beautiful, little things like that in the Torah. And I just don't see a whole nation of people changing.
So
If you
I'll tell
under
you where I think that Jewish people, what Jewish people are trapped in right now is
Okay.
this false premise. Geographically, it makes the most sense. People like Jewish people, a lot of Jewish people today are stuck in this idea, and it's such a funny idea that like there can be Jewish people from Ukraine, from Spain, from Russia, which are thousands of kilometers away from Israel, but somehow to
Yep.
imagine Jews coming from Tanzania or Eritrea, Djibouti,
Yep.
Somalia, Sudan is like hard for them to imagine. Even though the distance, in some cases, even like Northeast Africa and even West Africa, it's even smaller distances than in some parts of Europe sometimes. So I think it's a trap that they
Yep.
get stuck in because that's just what they're familiar with. Now, Ashkenazi Jewish culture has taken a huge precedent for, in a lot of ways it's been good too, has taken a huge forefront step in preserving our culture and our religion. There's this great Jewish thinker in our circles. His name is Rudy Rockman, if you know who he is, Rudy Israel.
Yeah, I heard him. Yeah.
So he always says that Judaism, what Judaism is today, is kind of a portable suitcase that the Jews who were in exile and diaspora had to carry around. And a lot of us were lost along the way. Many of us were lost. There's even a whole tribe of Jews, pretty much called the Conversos, who were the ones who ended up in South America, in Brazil, in places like Suriname, all these places had to hide their religion because of Christian persecution. And now a lot of them wake up and they come back to the religion. And some of them end up being black or of African heritage. So I
Yeah.
really do believe that it's possible that in Africa there are, and he's on a big forefront of that. He's creating a documentary called We Were Never Lost, literally exposing the African Jewish diaspora. I think there are tons that are originally Israelite. Now, what's the job of people like you and I? One is to put our divisions on the side, because like when I see what Black Hebrew Israelites in America do, sometimes they'll negate my connection to this land to supersede theirs. They'll say, no, I'm the real Israelite and you're fake. They'll call me white. They'll call me a fake
Yeah.
Jew. And I say, no, well, for thousands of for years, if my family died in places like Mesopotamia and Babylon, my family comes from the original people who wrote on the rivers of Babylon. And I know that because I DNA tested it and I know my family stories well. So you can't deny my Jewish heritage, but it's a job for two young, handsome guys like us who probably are family, maybe somewhere down the line, to work together to help rediscover our brothers and sisters who may be lost. And there's examples of this, by the way, like the Igbo people in Nigeria who they practice an Israelite culture. I believe the specific belief system
The
is called
Igbos.
the Igbo people. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Igbos. They have a culture called Emunana. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
And they do things like pray Shema Israel, and they have all these customs that come from the Levant originally, from Israel, and
Yeah.
people have a hard time explaining why. And there's tons of that all over Africa, even as far as Papua New Guinea, and those people also
Yeah.
came from Africa. So it's our
Yeah.
job to expose that, to bring them back, and then, in my personal opinion, how many people of African heritage can we connect back to Israel? How can we connect them back to Israelite culture, to the Middle East?
See, and oh man, I'm sorry if you weren't done.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
no. That's sorry. I ramble, bro. Sorry about that.
No, bro, you good, bro. Because sometimes I do the same thing. All right, so I'm gonna give you a little. I'm gonna answer the questions the statements that you brought up, but I also want to tell you a little bit about me.
Okay.
So of course I am a Hebrew Israelite, and I do believe that the Jews are black.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was saying earlier, I'm not saying that you specifically are not a Jew, because who am I to say that? I don't know, but I don't believe, and again, no offense to you, because it doesn't
None
mean I don't
taken.
love you but I don't believe that majority of the people over there in Israel that's saying they are Jews are Jews.
Mm.
I'm not saying some of them are not. I'm not saying that, but I don't believe majority. Now, every time I look at Torah, so when I look at Torah, this is how I look at it. I see if we take science and things like that, like DNA tests, it always points to you being the people. I cannot disagree with it. But when I look at Torah, it's like I just do not see the the same connection to Torah as I do with you, as I do with us. So like for instance, of course, since you're familiar, one of the main scriptures that we use is you will go into slavery on ships.
Mm-hmm.
When we think about that, to be honest, the only people in history that went into slavery on ships were black people. I have yet to, or other people have went into slavery on ships, but it happened by their own people. That's not what the Torah says is going to happen. It says another people was going to come against you and put you on ships and take you to another land that you didn't know as slaves. That did not happen to anybody else. A lot of Jewish people like to say that happened during the Roman persecution or the Byzantine. But the problem is, it was only really two places that they were being exported from: Rome and Egypt. Those are two places that we already knew. So it gets kind of confusing. Now, though, I will say this: I'm more open At first, it was more so I know I'm right for a fact, and I'm going to prove you wrong. Now I'm more open. Now I'm more open to it, man. But I'm gonna be honest. It's like nobody that I talk to has enough information, bro. And that's another thing that always is a problem to me. I just, for one, let's just say we are not the Jews. Let's start from that standpoint. Not saying both of us are. Let's say we are not the Jews. According to Torah, we are supposed to learn the Torah from you,
Right.
if you get what I'm saying. But if you don't even, not you in general, but if you don't even know what the Torah is saying, how am I supposed to learn from you? Like, well, I want to hear your part first because, like I said, I go on and on too.
No worries. So I would say that when you, first of all, there are multiple instances of Jews actually being carried off as slaves in ships. Not that that negates what you're saying, because you're right. I mean,
Yeah,
that could totally be prophecy about the African slave trade. It's totally possible.
yeah,
I'm not saying it's not. Um, I just think that I think when we look at the story of Jewish people, first of all, we have to break down what the hell Jewish people even means. Jewish people is kind of a misnomer as well, because we're not. There's no such thing as a Jew. A Jew means somebody who came from Yehuda, from the family or the
I
tribe
agree.
of Judah. But like
Yeah,
before that, there were 12 tribes. Before that, we were known as the children of Israel, the Bnei
mm-hmm.
Israel or Bnei Israel, the children of
Yep,
Yaqub, of Jacob. So we're all the descendants of Jacob in theory. That's the idea, and that opens in my opinion, that opens the gate for many other people to be included in this. Now, what you were saying earlier about how most of these tribes were African or black, the Jews intermixed, and this is how I know my DNA. I did the simple ancestry.com
yeah,
test, and I've been
yeah,
testing my family as well to just figure it out. So I have Jewish family that comes from Iraq, Iran, and Turkey. These were all like ancestral places that had to do with the Bible, all three of them. And my family never left
yeah,
these areas. They were always there. When we look at the DNA strands of Babylonian Jews, that a large percentage of my family comes from, all of the percentage of the DNA stems back to original Canaanite Levantine people, 99%. I'm like 80% Canaanite. The
Go ahead.
other,
I'm listening.
yeah, yeah,
I'm sorry.
no,
Go
no
ahead.
worries,
Go
bro.
ahead. You good?
The other
Nah.
20% is Aramean, so like the Aramaic people, same as Jesus, the people of Lavan
Okay.
and Rachel, the ones who married into Abraham's family. So I know my
Uh,
DNA comes from this specific land, and then some of it comes from Mesopotamia, potentially that the people who came from Abraham, because Abraham, as you know, came from Mesopotamia and then ended up in
that's,
Canaan. To
yeah,
say that all the Canaanite groups were black, I mean, I have no way to verify that. I don't know to say. I think it's totally possible that they were a mix of like what I believe to be white, black, and Asian together.
yeah,
Probably something that looks Middle Eastern or that has elements of Africa and Asia in it too. Um, but I know, for example, that 70% of Israel is made up of Jews like me, which are known as Mizrahi Jews. Another
yeah.
small
Mizrahi.
percentage of it, or like the 3 or 4%, is the Ethiopian Jewish diaspora. It's about 180,000 people. So I know that a vast majority of the Jews in Israel are made up of people who never left the Middle East. And when you genetically test them, almost all of them come back saying Canaanite Levantine DNA. So maybe you could be right that somehow magically all of us converted to Judaism somewhere down the line and we're not the original tribes of Israel. It's possible. I just have a hard time believing that that's true. I think the inverse may be correct. More that we were able to safeguard our religious thing like in a box. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, many people in the African diaspora lost it.
can't do that. Yeah,
And for me, it's our job now. The family can't come home until the whole family comes home. If it's
that's
just
true,
partially missing, that's a disservice. And we need to do a job to actually find the missing roots and bring them back.
man, bro. You cool with me, bro? And
Absolutely, bro.
one, man, one, I can understand everything you're saying. Like I articulated, and I'm 100% with you. So, all right. So
And
now
I'm learning from you
I'm
too,
glad.
by the way. I haven't never heard your perspective yet. I mean, I've heard things like it, but I've never heard your perspective yet.
Because it seems like all we want to do is argue, man. That's what a lot of people think, and I blame it on the higher ups, man.
Mm.
Like, so a lot of people got a misconception about us and think we just hate everybody that's not black, Mexican, or Native American. That's not true. But at the same time, we do understand what has happened to us
Right.
through everybody in the world. So one thing you said was the DNA. The reason that I really don't. Okay, well, let me show you this first. All right. So you was asking about the Canaanite, and you was like, "There's no way to verify technically." Not well, according to you, you don't know, but
Yeah, yeah.
there's no way to actually say that they were a dark black people. So, and if you watch Israelites, this is something that we use all the time. This is the Jewish dictionary, and it explains who are the families.
Mm-hmm.
It says it's backwards for me, so if you want to, you can read it, or I
Ham,
can just read it.
Ham, the youngest son of Noach, probably born about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites.
So, so the Jewish dictionary literally says Ham is the father of the dark races, not the Negroes, which I am, but the Egyptians, the Canaanites, the Ethiopians.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these people come from Ham, but the Negroes don't. So if the Negroes don't come from Ham, and we definitely don't come from Japheth, who the hell do we come from? I mean, you get what I'm saying? So that's just, and that's without using Torah. That's just using
But does the Torah
strictly.
have the concept of a Negro? Is that in the Torah?
Yeah, well, yes. It's actually, you actually see Negro more in the New Testament, but yes. Are you familiar with Aaron's son? He had it's either Aaron or Moses' son, Phineas.
Phineas. Yes, 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 yes.
Phineas. His name is an Egyptian name that means the Negro. Like that's literally what Phineas means.
Interesting. Because I'm
Yeah, and
also under the impression that the original Egyptians were very dark as well, no?
they were. If you look at the Egyptian walls, you will see a lot of black people with
Right.
cornrows.
Right.
Yeah.
That was out. So then they would have another word in ancient Egypt to specify somebody who was like even darker than them.
See, but this is the problem. The Ethiopians, all of these dark races, they resemble each other. All right, so look, this is how I always started off.
Okay.
When the 12 tribes went into Egypt, remember it was only 70 of them.
Mm-hmm.
When they left out of Egypt, they were you couldn't count them.
It was
So that means
650,000. That's what the Torah says, like 650,000.
yeah, that's the funny part. A lot of times I think Torah is using similar to because it says 600,000, but then turn around and say, "Today you are as the stars of heaven." It's more than 600,000 stars in heaven. You get what I'm
But
saying?
also
So
the Torah specifies that many Jews refused to leave Egypt. Many of them stayed. And we actually don't know.
I never seen that. Literally every time I read the Torah, Deuteronomy 29 says, "You are here today, all of you, your children, your wives, the men, your cattle, even the strangers, all of you are here today." The end, it says it literally, when it talks about Egypt, it says, "I brought every one of you out of Egypt."
Interesting. I mean, I just read the Torah over Yom Kippur recently from the front cover to cover, just like the 5 books of Moses. And I do remember specifically reading somewhere where it said that Jews were left behind. I may be wrong. I need to recheck. But I remember seeing something there that said about Jews staying back or Israelites staying back, Hebrews staying back.
In the Torah.
But also here's another interesting thing. Like one, there's multiple when Joshua ben Nun is doing his massacres against the Canaanites when Moses is initially like coming to the land of Israel and Aaron is coming to Israel too. They specify there's a couple instances where Canaanites intermarry into the children of Israel, and also we have this concept in Judaism today. It's called a ger. A ger, which is this idea of somebody who is a goy, like an outside of Israel, outside of the nation of Israel, who joins the nation of Israel. And we know, for example, that many people who left Egypt, who were not Israelites or not Hebrews, also came with Israel. It specifies that in the Torah also explicitly. And that's not me saying that people of African heritage are goys or not Israelites.
No, I know.
I'm
Yeah.
saying like it's so confusing, and I could totally see where you're coming from. It's so confusing on what we may have looked like. I really don't know what to say. I'm totally
See,
open to it.
no, you see, and that remember, like, and it's not a bad thing again, but this is what I always hear, and that's kind of the point that I was making earlier.
Mm,
Like, when we read it as a Hebrew Israelite, I completely understand it. It's like I can't. All right, so for instance, I just showed you in the Jewish dictionary that it says that Ham is the father of all the dark races,
right.
and it says the Egyptians. In the Torah, when you read about Moses, Moses was mistaken for an Egyptian.
Correct.
So me just thinking about that. Okay, Ham is the father of the dark races, which are the Egyptians. Moses looked like an Egyptian, so it's fair for me to say that Moses was dark like the ancient Egyptians. I mean, that's just
But then there's another interesting story there, which
yeah. Go ahead.
Moses marries Tzipporah, who's a Midianite, who
Yeah.
we believe it originally stemmed from the tribes of the Cushite people, which is what the
Okay.
Torah says as well. And then there's this whole section in the Torah where Aaron and Miriam, his sister and her brother, discriminate against Tzipporah based, and we call that in the Torah maybe the first example of potential racism, where they discriminate against her for being different. I mean, it's implied that it could be because of her color skin or because of where she's from, and Hashem
Yeah.
strikes them down and says you're not allowed to do that, which is also interesting because is the Torah now specifying multiple shades of black, that Moses was also black and Sipporah was black because she was maybe Ethiopian? It's really confusing, you
Bro,
know?
see and look, and that see now if you now that's what's so fascinating, right? Because in the Mishnah, so I do a lot of studying all of that Jewish stuff. In the Mishnah, the funny part is it says in the first century it was not one white or one black Jew. This is funny because it said they're not white, they're not black, but in between. So
Mm,
brown. The thing about black people, and not just black people, is Arabs, is pretty much everybody that's not white, to be honest. We are capable of making all shades of color people.
correct.
I have three children. One of them is darker than me a little bit. One of them is the same complexion, and one of them is close to your complexion.
Interesting.
But they all have the same mom,
Mm.
and neither one of us are close to your complexion. How do we have a light skinned child? That's just something that we are capable of doing. But nowhere in history can someone that's lighter have a black child. That's just not possible.
Fucking magical black people. That's what I was talking to you about earlier. You guys have the magic in you.
So look, check this out. That's the funny. But so you know how we feel about Esau, right? If you think about what happened with Isaac, he had Jacob and Esau, but they came out two different people.
Correct.
That's magical. Like how you say, how I'm saying we can do today. That is the same thing that happened with Isaac and his
So
children.
what do you think about? I'm actually curious to get your take on this. What do you think about King David? Do you also believe King David would have been black or African?
Yeah. So a lot of people talk about that word ruddy.
Mm-hmm.
So the word ruddy, it can mean red, but the problem is red has a lot of different, as you should know, meanings when you're talking about Hebrew.
Correct.
Because this can be red. Was David this color? Of course not. You get what I'm saying? So red is a broad spectrum.
Mm.
The reason, and I'm this gonna kind of differ, but it's gonna come back to your conversation. Esau, we see that he came out red. That's one word, but it also give a description of his red. So we know the type of red that he is. David, yes, it used the word ruddy, but the problem is ruddy can also be used to describe how beautiful someone is. So when I read that David was ruddy, it's two ways that Israelites, I'm gonna give you both ways. I'm gonna be
Mm-hmm.
fair.
Yeah.
It's two ways that Israelites break this down. Some people say that, yeah, he was ruddy, meaning he was just a light skinned person, which could be possible. I don't disagree with that. But others just say that it just means beautiful. Because when you read the section where it say he was ruddy, it was literally describing what he looked like as a feature. He was broad, he beautiful face, things like that. So I mean, I just don't see it.
Well, bro, what's your
But it's
name, by the way?
possible. My name is Tate.
Tate. I'm
Tate.
tall. Tall like tall.
All right, yeah, all right, cool.
Listen,
cool.
bro, I'm gonna bounce, but this was one of the most fascinating conversations I've had on here. Like, it's actually an honor to be able to have a conversation with a Hebrew Israelite, like respectfully back and forth like this. Cross-contaminate ideas, bro. This is how we make peace between our peoples, you know? Which
That's
at the end
all
of the day,
I'm
there's a
saying,
good chance
bro.
we're the same people. So we should be pushing for the
Yeah.
peace anyways. But I appreciate you a lot, man. Thanks for having this conversation with me.
All right, me too, man. You have a good one.
See you, brother. God bless. What a nice guy. Guys, shout out to Tate in the comment section. That's fucking awesome. That was a great conversation. Now, don't come for me. This isn't me co-signing everything that he said. It's also me not negating everything that he said. It's just an interesting conversation. I like hearing perspectives, especially from people from the Hebrew Israelite community, because it's not something I was ever really exposed to in my youth. And I told you guys, like I said in this video, I have an affinity towards people of African heritage. I don't know how to explain it, and I don't know why. I do. And I'm fascinated by their experiences and how they perceive things, especially when it comes to the Torah that I grew up in, the culture I grew up in. So, very, very fascinating conversation. See you guys next one. You struggled with repping your Zionism in style? Well, boy, do I have a solution for you. Head to thetravelingclad.com and become a sweet Zionist prince or princess today. Or maybe even let the world know you're a white colonizer with matching hat. Tell the comments section you were thrown out of 109 countries by joining the 109 Club with a matching hat. They say it was promised to you 2,000 years ago? Double down and grab a shirt that was promised to you 3,000 years ago with a matching hat. Ever dreamed of Zionizing like me? Do it with a matching hat, damn it! Show off your Iraqi pride by being someone's Baghdadi, or showing them you were made in Iraq with a matching hat. It's time to laugh in the face of those who attack us, wear their hate with pride, and you become untouchable. TheTravelingClad.com. We got mugs, stickers, shirts, hoodies, and so much more. Go grab yourself something nice, Habibis and Habibtis. You deserve it. If you don't want to buy any merchandise, the best way to support me is by donating on Buy Me a Coffee, my PayPal, or becoming a member on my Patreon. Your support is very much needed and very much appreciated. Thank you.